Dum da 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 dum da da.
Tom and Jamie gonna talk about stuff. Yeah, we gonna chat about it all today. Gonna chat about it, Tom and Jamie, yeah.
Right, today we've come to you to have a conversation about the changing rooms in PE.
Mad spaces, wild ones.
Lawless, unbridled, testosterone running free.
You went to a boys' school, didn't you?
No, not me.
Oh, it was mixed?
Yeah, mine was mixed.
What, even in the changing rooms? Was it mixed?
No, of course not. No, it's not no, not one of them.
It's not quite as lawless as that.
I don't know where they've got changing rooms for the same people in English schools. But I would imagine problems might come up.
Yeah, probably. But so you had even though you weren't in an all-boys school, you did have that space of all boys.
I guess that was my common ground to yours.
Yeah, because mine was all boys. But you know, the changing rooms still amplified that.
Were they still an especially potent breeding ground for that kind of negative activity?
A lot of whipping.
Mm.
People like to whip you with their ties and with their rugby shirts and stuff.
I remember the whipping. I remember the quipping. I remember there was always some kind of terrible thing going on with the sinks. Like if there was any kind of water source, like the biggest, scariest boys,
something was happening there. Yeah,
they'd get involved and create some kind of terrible apparatus to channel the water into your bag or splash it everywhere, or just there was always something like stuff that would toilet roll and then it would all overflow on your shoes. And it was always antics. It always felt like there was some kind of terrible scheme.
Yeah, I do. I remember a boy. I can't remember if it was me. Oh, well, this has just reminded me of another story now. But
tell us the first one.
Well, the whole topic is sort of pulling down trousers. But I think a boy pulled down someone's trousers, but the teacher caught him in the act. And he gave him a proper good talking to be fair. He was like, that's sexual assault. And realistically, it is, isn't it? So
it definitely, it is. It is.
If anything, there should have been more of a punishment in place. And maybe there is nowadays for that sort of thing. I mean,
well, you can't really do an eye for an eye on that kind of thing. But maybe, you could have pulled his pants down, but then that's a bit worse because he's teacher, isn't he?
Oh no, the teacher didn't pull my pants down.
I'm not suggesting any teacher pulled anyone's pants down. I'm just saying, hypothetically, that would be a more criminal action than a child pulling another child's pants down.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, do you remember how the kid responded? Was it in front of everyone? Was it one of those ones?
He was well silent because, as you know, all PE teachers are fucking scary as shit.
Oh yeah.
So scary. They'd have a very specific,
scary and weird. They always had
monstrous shout.
Our one had smaller shorts than we did. You remember that kind of thing? Just they always had their thighs out.
They would have their legs out, yeah, their muscly legs.
But not just their legs. Ours just had it all the thigh, bulging thighs.
Really?
And then they used to come in at different intermittent periods while we were getting changed or doing whatever we were doing with sinks or picking on the small boy, often me. They'd just come in and be like, yeah, remember we're doing diamond tennis or something, and then just stand there for a bit. Too long. I remember their presence being quite bizarre.
Well, I think they are notoriously... I know that one of my PE teachers got caught having sex with a drama teacher. So that was the whole thing. And then it seemed like, there were a few other teachers in the school who dated the PE teachers.
Oh, yeah.
They were certainly sort of sexually frivolous.
Yeah.
People.
Well, I mean, with my one, old, well, I won't say his name. He got his wife got nicked off him by one of the science teachers.
Oh, really?
So it went the other way around, yeah.
Oh, bloody hell.
Mr. Well, I can't. the science teacher just nabbed his wife.
She fancied someone a bit more intellectual.
Well, apparently, yeah. But he was a crazy teacher. Always used to come up and talk to me about my Kurt Cobain journals.
Oh, yeah.
It's Welshman, the science teacher, that is.
Is he a nice bloke?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he had these strange kind of like scabby bits. You know, when like when teachers just had like strange skin or strange bits.
What, on his
And as a
arms?
kid, you're just like, what's going on here?
What
No,
bits?
on his like neck and his ears and stuff, like little like fungal like creatures. I don't know, little bits of like scabby nonsense.
Yeah.
I think scabbers. I think he did get called scabbers for a
Oh, that's awful.
bit. Yeah.
We had a science teacher called Mr. Buntain, and we called him Mr. Bumsdane.
Oh
That
no.
was good.
Oh. With a name like that, just don't become a teacher, really.
Yeah.
Or change it. Smith.
I mean, Buntain sounds like a good name for science. It sort of sounds like butane. It sounds like a chemical element, you know.
What was your other story that you had about the pants?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to ask. Well, I just remember my friend, weirdly enough, he was in my dream last night, this friend. Well, he's not really my friend anymore. I haven't seen him in years.
Oh, goodness.
But they used to let us choose in PE what set we'd go into. This is a bit irrelevant, really, but
It's
me and
all
all my
important.
friends just went to the lower sets because we just wanted to fuck around, really, and just have a bit of fun. We didn't want to play serious sports.
Can't blame you.
But anyway, went out to the field one day, and this friend of mine kept trying to pull people's trousers down,
Oh, no.
and he went for mine, but I caught him out of the corner of my eye just before he went to do it. Or no, actually that's not true. I think because I knew he was on that kind of wavelength, he was trying to do that. I'd done mine up really tight, so that he couldn't pull them down. But he pulled them down with such force, and because they were so tight, my pants also came down with the trousers, and I was standing in the middle of the field, actually facing like the year 7s and the year 8s, in the adjacent field, standing there, fully balls out, bum crack out,
Oh,
trousers
no.
down the ankles, and it took me a good few seconds to recover. As you can imagine, it was a shock.
Wait, so you
to me.
stood there for like 3 seconds?
Well, as short a time as I could. I wouldn't say 3. I'd say
That's
it was
a long time.
It was probably just like 1 second, but it felt like eternity, you know.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So, what, were you in like a PE class?
Yeah, I was in a PE class. Yeah.
So there weren't like, it wasn't like assembly or something?
Oh no, that would have been.
Were
that
there
would have
any
been
girls
awful.
there, or was it just you and the lads?
Just me and the lads, mate. It was an
That's
all.
not so
it was an
bad.
all boys school.
That's-
So
Oh, of course, yeah.
it wasn't so bad. It wasn't, but it was humiliating. But I do remember finding it funny, because he was my friend. But if it was someone else who wasn't my friend, I think I'd feel very harassed by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite harassing behaviour. Do you remember all the stuff that used to go on with deodorant in PE?
Absolutely, yeah.
It was like some kind of like, it felt like, I don't know, chemical warfare, but like new frontiers were being discovered all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the whole deodorant thing was almost like a trend in a way, because I feel like at the kind of ages we were, I don't think smelling of BO was like really a thing.
Yeah.
Or at least it wasn't for me. I don't know if that's necessarily. I'm sure it was for some.
There was always the stinkier lads.
Yeah, there is the stinky lads.
But yeah, it seemed like they were never used for the right purpose. It was always like giving someone a deodorant burn, or like something with a lighter, or like a big one was they'd spray your bag like really close up for a while, and it would like stain it.
Oh, that never happened
And
in my school.
clothes. Oh, for mine it was like a gang of little Basquiats, or gassed up on deodorant cans.
They just didn't know what to do with their creative energy.
Yeah, well, and I couldn't breathe for most of it. I remember just associating PE with just asphyxiating on
Oh
Lakes
yeah.
Africa.
No,
and all
that
like-
happened. I remember there was an asthmatic boy, and he was like,
Oh no.
probably started having an asthma attack. It was brutal.
Yeah, it felt like going in the
Absolutely
trenches. Like,
Brutal place. Yeah.
And then there was like, oh, what pants are you wearing? Like, if you got the wrong pants.
I was always quite self-conscious of my skinny, lanky body.
Did you have boxers or
They were
tight
all-
pants?
I had boxers, yeah.
There were always those boys that had the tight pants.
Yeah, that was a
Weirdos.
thing, yeah. The Speedo,
Well, not
Y
even just the
fronts.
Speedos, yeah, like the
The
ones that go
yeah.
all up in your business.
Yeah, bad choice, really.
Well,
Well,
it was
not
either,
not
like-
necessarily.
No, I mean, there was
But for
like,
that setting, it was a bad choice.
I feel like 60% of those people were like nerds. And then in that remaining 40%, there's like a handful of hipsters and cool kids and like just resilient, defiant children.
Yeah, and then there was the ones that were really ripped, you know, all the
Yeah,
ripped boys.
the ripped boys.
I was just remembering the other day that like the sort of cool kids in my school, the ones that were ripped, would they'd always sort of post photos of their six packs on Instagram,
Yeah.
but they'd obviously be like tensing real hard and stuff, and
Yeah, I
getting
remember
onto-
that so
yeah.
well, actually. They'd always have those angles.
I think they do this thing with their hand, where they like make a little Nike tick, and put it to their breast, but it's just their hand making a symbol. This was a symbol.
Yeah, they just did it.
Yeah. It was pretty weird.
Do you remember the Hollister bag phase, or was that a bit before your time?
Ooh,
That was big when I was in like year 7 or year
Hollister.
8. Like all the girls had those like paper bags that had the boys with the six packs on them. They were like well
yeah.
in fashion.
That
like-
rings a bell.
Like you must have remembered how it was with school bags. Maybe it was a different thing in a school that wasn't mixed, but there'd be all these like phases where people would be like buying the Gola school bags with the patterns on them, or they'd be buying like the little Fial Raven ones in sixth form, or like the Hollister ones, Cap Kidston little moments.
That's just making me think about PE bags in general.
Oh, I
that
didn't
was
even mean PE bags. I just meant like your actual. But yeah, PE
just-
bags is a whole other.
Because
thing.
that was a whole thing, wasn't it? Because
They
you,
had, like,
you had to work
cartoons
out
or
what day you had PE on, and then you'd have to bring the extra bag in, and it would be such a faff.
I almost never did, and then I'd have to wear some like weird.
Oh, were
Lost
you one of those
property.
kids? Yeah, one of the lost property guys.
Sometimes I was, yeah. But I remember still to this day what my PE bag looked like. This separate little grey bag. I can still visualise that. The weight of it. Put it in my locker.
I remember a funny thing happening to my best mate. He'd forgotten his PE kit, so he stole one out of the lost property. And then for whatever reason, I don't know, he must have just had a moment of madness. But he took the PE kit that he'd stolen, and then he flushed it down the toilet. But obviously it didn't really flush. So someone just found it in the toilet and like reported it to a teacher.
That's one of those amazing like school moments where in your head it's like a cartoon where you'll like hit flush and it'll go like phew all around the pipes of the school, but then in real life it's just one boy putting loads of water on another boy's bag, and it's just all stuck there with the
It
skid
was
marks.
awful. I don't know why he
Shame.
did that, because I don't think he was trying to be mean to the guy. I think he just had this moment of guilt and confusion about borrowing something from lost property, and they caught him on the security cameras in the end. They did their little
That's
maths,
so tragic.
maths tricks, yeah.
Maths.
Well, you've got to do maths for that kind of thing, haven't you?
Yeah, do you reckon the maths teachers are the ones on the CCTV?
Because they're like proper, you know, when you get to those high levels of being a teacher, you're basically a bloody policeman.
Yeah, true.
You're like spending all your days like going through like security cam footage,
yeah, it's a bit
collating
nuts,
evidence and stuff.
Really. It's a bit mad. Did you ever get in big trouble?
Yeah. Only once, really.
Is it secret what you did
No, we used to have a competition,
in the canteen?
really, in the canteen,
Course,
stealing
course.
stuff.
Of course.
We used to take these little juice shots, they were called, little cartons of juice. And,
Wow.
yeah, used to stuff them all in our blazers and everywhere, really. And
How many did you get at one good, like, what's a good day?
Ooh, I think a good day could have been like 4 or 5.
And would you like ration them over the week, or would you just have them all?
Oh, no, they were tiny, that's the thing, so you just have them all. They were like tiny little cartons.
How many millilitres would you estimate?
Probably like 50.
Well, like little shots.
Yeah, they were called juice shots, because they were like little shots.
What's the point? It's just like health.
Don't know, just ripping off kids, innit?
True.
Really.
How much were they?
I can't remember. I never bought them. I only
course, yeah.
stole. I think they were like 30p, maybe.
So how did you
Something
get
like that.
caught?
Well, My friend had been caught, so it was with 3 friends that I did it. First friend got caught. I remember seeing him, and he just was crying his eyes out. It was quite embarrassing for him, to be honest. He was going, "Oh, don't tell my mum.
Oh no,
Please don't tell my mum."
You've got to go down with dignity.
And the dinner lady was like, "Sorry, love, but no, I've got to have to tell them." So anyway, he went down. He got over it eventually. And then my next friend went down as well. He was trying to steal a bucket of chicken. Fucking hell. I mean, he just pushed the boundaries there.
A bucket of chicken? What kind of school is this with juice shots and buckets of chicken?
Well, he used to have buckets of chicken legs.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I mean...
Fed well.
Kind of. They weren't very nice.
You go to school in KFC?
They weren't Kentucky Fried, I can tell you that. They were just... Did we have little ice creams? No, I don't think so.
Fair enough. But anyway, when did you get caught?
Yeah, so then I was the next one to get caught. And
oh no.
I just had a little... I think it wasn't a juice shot. I think it was actually a Radnor Fizz. Did you ever have one of those?
Of course. How could I forget?
One of the classic fizzy drinks at school.
They weren't even good.
No, they weren't really. They weren't really nice.
Radnor. I remember really hating that word.
Radnor Fizz.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Radnor.
Anyway, slipped one of those into my pocket. Debbie came over whilst I was in the queue. And she's just like, "Excuse me, is that a Radnor Fizz in your pocket?" And I was like, oh, is it? Oh, it must be. I'm so sorry. I'll pay for that now, kind of thing.
Oh, you played innocent?
I played innocent. I was like, I forgot. And then she said, "No, you didn't. Come with me." She took me to the teacher. Teacher spoke to me, told him it was a lie, stuck by my story, but he wasn't having it. And yeah, got an hour and a half detention for that.
What did you have to do in your detentions?
Just had to sit there. I think I actually did a drawing in my little contact book.
Well, that's great. You just got an hour and a half to sit and do a drawing.
I actually found it quite peaceful. I might have found meditation through that. That experience. It's I didn't get many detentions, but when I think about it, they always had quite a nice vibe. Really, you're all just sitting in silence in a room.
Oh, I didn't like mine. We had to do
bonding.
work.
Oh, you had to do work?
Yeah. We had mine were always for maths because I bloody hated that one. I never did the homework for maths, even when I was fairly good at it.
No.
And then, yet again, detention after detention, and they just make me go into the exercise book and do like sums and equations, and then be like, "You have to get to this page by the end."
That's never good. Did you get quite a few detentions?
Yeah, but they were always for talking back or homework.
Talking back?
I mean, as I still am, I'm a very vocal person, and at that point I was definitely a bit more kind of pretentious and celebrating my differences. I wasn't that keen on blending in school, for most of it anyway. So I'd just argue with the teachers, or if they were wrong about something, I'd tell them, and they didn't like it.
Oh,
I was either the best friend
remember a specific
or the enemy.
instance of...
No, because it was just more of a habit than like a rare occurrence. But I just do remember that they were always... I never had like neutral teachers. They'd always get on with me really well or not like me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like a character
I
in the
was
classroom.
neutral.
It depends how much you want to like go under the radar. I'd pretty much always get involved with them. But yeah, the detention sucked. It was just having to do work. But I got in trouble for stealing as well. In year 7, me and Ollie Viles, in our science class, we were doing stuff on balloons, and then at the end of the session, we just put like 2 or 3 balloons in our pockets each from the big bag of balloons. They're just little bits of plastic that you can blow up.
That's really naughty.
Not really, like it's nothing on like nicking like actual items from a canteen, basically. But we were 11, so maybe it really stressed her out. But we got called out of the next lesson, and she like shouted at us in the hallway and was like, "This is extremely worrying behaviour, and you're exhibiting this at this age, and you don't know what this means."
How the hell did she find out?
I don't know.
How the hell did she know?
I think maybe someone told her, because
That's
they
always
wouldn't
what
have-
happens, I
'cause
reckon.
there was always some
Yeah.
little like nerd in the corner that was like Mrs.
Little telltale, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I do remember in primary school I did get in trouble for making this YouTube video.
Oh no.
And within that we actually did do a prank call to Domino's. And we would sort of rack up this insane order of like 200 quid's worth of stuff. And then just order it to a house, like a random house. And say, can I pay in cash, please?
That's so good.
So that was probably probably naughtier than stealing from the canteen.
You
I
made
feel.
a video of doing that.
Well, as in, it was just a video of us on the phone.
Is it still out there?
No, because somebody found it in our class. They told the teacher, and then the head teacher, like told us to take it down and stuff. But now I think
That's a
back,
great
that was
shame.
actually a savage act. Like some poor little old lady could have just opened
Yeah.
the door to £200 worth of Dominoes being delivered.
It's actually like incredibly immoral.
Yeah,
It's
one of my biggest
hilarious.
regrets.
I think it's great though.
Can't shake the guilt.
I mean, I can enjoy it vicariously. It's just like a mad act. It's quite inventive.
It is. I'm surprised that my friends thought of that.
Yeah,
Quite genius.
that is impressive. Yeah, I remember I used to do a lot of stuff that I'd get in trouble a bit over A-level because I'd like tell a teacher in one lesson that I had a music lesson or something, and then just go and hang out with another person on their break and like play around on the computers and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then it's always the vice head teacher or whatever they're called, the deputy head. He'd always be patrolling around like a shark in the bloody water.
That's what I mean. When look, they're
Yeah,
literally
policemen,
bobbies on the
yeah, yeah.
beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and
They've
he'd,
got
and
their
he'd
little
catch me
beat.
with his little eye, and you'd know he was coming over. And then he was like, "What are you doing? What's your timetable saying right now?" And it would be like E7 English lesson or something. He'd be like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just hanging around with this guy." "Oh, don't do that." And then I don't know. I remember definitely pleading the anxiety card. Getting so stressed out by this lesson. Just had to get out.
Oh, that's more than I never really got caught when I bunked. I managed to get away with it. We used to go and hide in the music cupboard where all the instruments were kept, and it was just like this dark
Oh, we had one of them.
little room.
How big was yours?
Ours was pretty big, but it was quite full as well.
Yeah, it was
so,
full, but
yeah.
was it narrow?
It was quite narrow. Yeah.
Ours was very narrow, but quite long,
Yeah.
but very full.
Yeah, that sounds similar to mine. Or the music rooms themselves.
And it
then
had such a specific
the
smell.
music rooms were actually right next to the PE changing rooms.
Same.
Oh, wow.
Maybe this
How
is some kind of
strange.
like, if anyone else has had this experience, we can find out.
I mean, it
We're on
seems like
site.
an odd pairing, really.
It used
It's
to
like you're
annoy
bringing
me.
the two enemies of the school
Yeah, yeah.
together.
Because I used to just go and bunk off in GCSE and A-level and just sit and play the piano in AC1 in the music room. And often little kids in their shorts would just come by and be yelling and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, even worse, we'd have some proper rowdy rugby boys come and try and open the music room door and just come in and try and act all scary and fuck with us.
Oh, yeah, yeah. At what point in your school life did music become cool and stop being something you were bullied for? Or is that just me?
I think that was in sixth form.
Yeah, I would
As soon
agree.
as
I'd
soon as
agree.
year 11 ended and everyone put on their little suits, for some reason that really changed people's demeanour.
Yeah, people started being a bit more individual. But I just remember so clearly going into school in year 8 or something with a trombone or a guitar or something, and everyone's been like, "What the hell's that? You're proper gay for having that trombone."
Absolutely. I mean, it was awful, and I do think sometimes about how it must have really delayed my kind of emergence or just confidence in my musical spheres
Probably.
of life. You know, I think it was really made to be an embarrassing thing. Our head teachers used to always ask us to do performances in the assemblies, and we did a few, and then we just got so made fun of.
I did
the-
loads of those assemblies. That's a whole other shared memory, probably.
What tunes were you ripping out?
Well, it was a whole
those?
like it was a basically it's a long one. To cut a short story long, I would have started in the early parts of school like asking teachers to play an assembly with all like confidence, like, having a little band and stuff.
Wow.
But then I joined the school Eucharist band because it was like one of those schools that's like a Christian school as well. Like they have like the label of the C of E or whatever. So we had like worship in some of our assemblies, and there had to be a band to play in it. So I played bass or guitar or drums. But in year 7, I formed a band, and we did Chasing Cars in the school assembly.
Tune.
Absolute
Snow
classic for 2011. That went down so hard.
Yeah.
And then we would have done stuff like I did Blackbird by myself.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
That was sweet.
Were you singing as well? You were.
I think that was a solo guitar performance.
Yeah.
The Blackbird one.
That makes sense. Oh, that's so funny because I'm pretty sure I played for my GCSE. Like we had to do a solo performance. I think I did Blackbird, and I also did Danny California.
Oh, classic.
And ripped out that guitar solo. At the end, got them all bloody. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a solo. We did stuff like that. I used to play in other people's GCSE performances, and they did Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
And I just got to rip like a huge solo on it. But I think for my GCSE like songwritery performance thing, I did Half the World Away by Oasis.
Oh, yeah.
Absolute tune.
That's a nice
And I
song.
would have done what's that Dylan number? Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
cool. You know, it did get cooler as we got into sixth form, well, I don't know about cooler, but I do remember the whole sort of playing in the band. Yeah, by the time we were in sixth form, we were back playing in the assemblies, even though through the middle years we'd actually told the head teacher that we can't do it because we get made too much fun of.
But you came back to it.
But we came back with a vengeance, and I remember the first tune we did in sixth form was Live and Let Die.
Oh.
And it was bloody banging. It was crazy.
Who was singing?
I can't remember who was singing, but
Were
I
you
just
drumming?
remember I was playing the bass, and we'd just gotten into ketamine, and I remember one of my friends bringing in a big bag of ketamine, and he was like, "Oi, before Music Academy, I reckon we should just do a big line in the toilets," and so we all did some, and I just remember coming back in, and I sort of felt like my bass amp was wobbling around everywhere. I was sitting on it, and my friend Luke was playing it wasn't the xylophone, it was the marimba.
Yeah, of course.
And he was hitting those blocks with a lot of enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a good moment, but it definitely marked a shift from the Wonderwalls and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, it sounds like you got to a place I never quite arrived at in school. I definitely wasn't doing those kind of performances. But
it's probably for the best.
we used to play, I used to often just play by myself like every week for the weekly A-level assembly, and I'd do like Bon Iver and stuff. Nice
I
little folky.
bet the girls fancied you.
Well, who's
when
to
you
say?
did that.
Who's to say?
Well, they did, didn't they? Bloody boy like yourself playing Bon Iver.
Come on, skinny love.
Oh,
Let's
I bet their
pass
hearts
the
are breaking.
Well, we did gigs in the school, like the gym hall.
Yeah.
I remember that was all. We were all like 14, 15. Like, are the girls watching? Are the girls watching?
Oh God, I remember. So I think it was actually when we started pulling out of performances because we said we were too embarrassed, essentially. I remember they got this kid called Derek on instead, and he was so bad. He was so he was such a sweet kid.
What did he do?
But he was so bad. He did Hall of Fame,
Oh goodness,
and he was trying to play that on guitar.
golly!
And it was dreadful. Even the teachers were laughing. Like, it was so bad
Crikey!
that people couldn't contain their laughter. And I remember looking at a teacher and they were literally had their hand over their mouth and they were fucking dying. It was awful. Really
I guess
bad.
on some level that's entertainment though.
Oh,
isn't
it was so good. I loved it.
I always loved those bits where someone would just make some really bad music.
I just love it, and I feel like you really like nothing emulates this like the school environment, but just having the giggles in a place where you really shouldn't have the giggles.
That's some of the best like laughter fits I think I've ever had, and the most painful.
Yeah.
Or in like a certain lesson or an assembly, or like there was some kind of thing that no one else had realised, like the sweet dramatic irony of a teacher having like a wardrobe malfunction and not realising, and everyone in the class realising, and then just like, pissing yourself.
I mean, I remember my classes being quite vocal about that sort of thing. One maths teacher always had a very crumpled blazer, and I think someone just shouted out like, "Your blazer's a bit creased, mate."
Yeah, so I remember there were moments where it'd be like hyenas, you just gang up on the teacher and they'd have to submit to your will. We had this supply teacher that was always so gassed. He was always so happy. And I think it was GCSE German, and he came in and was like, "Hello!" And like, "What are we going to learn today? Where are you at in the books?" And we were like, "Oh, actually, we don't do German. We're the Spanish class." And he was just like, "Oh no, are you not whatever it would have been, like 11C?" It's like, no, that's not us. I think you'll find that you've got the wrong lesson, mate.
That's brilliant.
And then it's like either he'd just leave or he'd try and teach us some like basic Spanish, and we'd just have the giggles all the
Wow, he committed to the part then. He was like, "I'm going to do my bit as a teacher and just change language."
If
did he know
people,
Spanish? Or?
I have a feeling that with like those kind of supply teachers for languages, they probably just know a few of them enough.
Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
need to know that much to teach GCSE. Well, you do a bit.
Oh, yeah, that's really... I love those kind of when somebody starts it and then this whole collective thing happens. Everyone really pulls together.
But there's always those kids in the class that were like not into it, and you'd always be like watching them to see if they were going to rat it.
Yeah, totally.
I remember a girl called like Rebecca Clare. She'd always be like, "Oh, guys, no, if he finds out."
Oh, dear.
And we'd be like, "No, he won't find out."
Sad little life.
Yeah. Bleak prospects.
With the cover teachers, I just remember doing one thing in particular, which I was sort of the orchestrator of, actually. I did get quite naughty when it was a cover teacher.
Okay. Pray tell.
It was quite a simple thing, but it had quite a potent effect. I'd sort of get a few people around me to join in, so maybe there'd be 6 of us, and I'd give everyone a word, and then I'd say, "We've got to say these words," and everyone says their own word. And it's sort of like a line of sound. Yeah, and it would we'd be shout something really grotesque and dirty. So it'd be like, "Big, smelly, stinky Willy." But each person had one word, so... Yeah, but then you could never really tell who said it, so she couldn't tell you off. Because it was so scattered around in her sonic field, yeah.
Wow, that's like a bit of like a 3D sound art piece, but also with like psychological, sociological undertones and
it was mad.
And expressions. That's
mad.
Deep.
Yeah,
so it's such a good confusion tactic. Just like scatter the voices.
But some kids went too far. I think.
They were
probably quite scarring to be a teacher in those environments.
Definitely. I remember some very brutal things being said to people. It was definitely like, I remember there was the rudest kids would just outright call people ugly.
Yeah,
I remember even to like other kids, like other pupils in the school, that would be like such a massive insult. But you're so ugly. In primary school as well, towards the end.
Spitballs. Did you ever do those? Yeah,
of course. Wet willies.
Bad, yeah. Had someone come and put a melted chocolate in my hair once.
Oh, that and chewing gum. I remember the boys putting chewing gum in the girls' hair.
Chewing gum.
Another thing was they'd always like, the tables were like kind of waist high for us at that point.
Yeah.
I remember the bigger boys would always like, you'd all just be chilling in form time, and you'd be walking from one desk to another, and they'd like come and push up against you, either with a chair or just their arms, and like push you against the tables, and they'd like dig in to either like your back or your balls.
Oh dear, yeah,
That was a very
that's
specific
reminding me
pain.
now of William Legat, because I
What's
think
that?
he put the chocolate in my hair, I think, and
Oh,
then I think I
no.
sort of got up and was like, what the hell? And, you know,
What the hell
got
now?
up in his face a bit. And I remember him grabbing me by the bag straps and sort of pushing me down onto the table and being like, shut up.
Oh yeah, no, there was a lot of pushing down onto tables. Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I once had to run to the toilet to check because I thought they'd broken my balls. I thought there was like
Oh my God.
I was like, oh no, I think there's maybe there's not that bit that keeps him in anymore.
Oh, that's so traumatizing.
Would have been about 11.
Jamie.
Just like looking in the cubicle, like what's going on?
What did you find?
Well, it was all just kind of
Probably
as
hard to
it,
tell.
all because of as it was, you know, all
Yeah.
good. But the pain.
I
Haven't
think
felt
I
that
managed to
years.
avoid most of the ball kicks.
Maybe because it was an all-boys school, there was almost like a kind of a reverence around the testicle, like a kind of sacred pact.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it would have been such a different environment. Like a big part of school for me was the fact that it was mixed, and trying to like understand and deal with like puberty while being around the opposite sex.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a silly idea to have single-sex schools. I think everyone should get used to being around the opposite sex and around, you know, all sorts of different genders and stuff. I think it's incredibly outdated, and I think it breeds weird obsessions with boys and their female fantasies, I think. Like, we did have some girls in the school because there were girls in the sixth form. The sixth form was a mixed situation, but that meant that a lot of the boys that were all naughty and a bit rude would direct a lot of attention to those girls and, you know, shouting out their names and stuff.
Yeah, there was so much shouting,
So much shouting, yeah.
especially in the changing rooms.
Especially, that was the loudest time.
I remember just like on mini speakers, this one kid always had his speaker.
And stink bombs were a thing that were often let off in the PE changing rooms.
Yeah,
for
it was
me.
like some kind of laboratory for like testosterone experiments on objects and things and people.
Can I just ask, what is diamond tennis? You mentioned that ages ago, and I just thought, what the hell is that?
Well, what I was actually remembering was diamond cricket, but I mixed up the tennis and the cricket. Diamond cricket was like you've normally got like your one-way cricket where you've got the stumps on either end, but in diamond cricket there were two pitches that were on opposite axes, so you'd have like a horizontal and a vertical, and they'd form like a cross, and then it was something like that, or maybe there
Not
was like four of them.
rounders. Are you not just confusing this for rounders?
I'm not confusing this for rounders. I'm perfectly aware of a rounders.
Okay,
That's my
good,
favourite
good.
sport.
Yeah, rounders is
badminton
great,
and
isn't it?
table
That was
tennis.
always a good day in PE.
Rounders was like Christmas.
Yeah, when they pulled out the rounders, I was a happy man. What about
Yeah.
football? Were you a football guy?
I liked football when I could just play, and I was with friends, but I didn't like all the training for it. Like having to run up and down the place with a ball. Not into that.
Oh, see, I think I was more into that, and then when the actual game started, I hated it because everyone got all competitive and stuff.
Yeah, I also hated it a bit, but I remember badminton being great and rounders being great. All the games, and then like what was the Olympics? What was that? Athletics.
The Olympics.
Do you remember when you did the Olympics in year 9?
What's that, mate? I don't know.
The athletics, where you did like the 100-meter sprint.
Sports day.
No, but not just on sports day. That was a whole class.
Oh, just the athletics.
Yeah, we
stuff.
had to do like shot puts and
Yeah,
javelins.
I usually hated the running ones, but you know what? For a sports day, they put me down for an 800 metres. And I remember I came third. And
What
I
is
beat...
it to represent your team?
Yeah, the house that I was in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was called Pinar.
800 metres. How did you do?
I came third.
That's not very
And,
good.
no, it is good.
It's not
great.
first, is it?
Third is amazing. Because
Wait, out of how
everyone
many?
was thinking, oh, look, there's all these sporty boys. There was quite a lot of sporty boys. Runners and rugby players and football players.
Well, you're quite long, I guess, aren't you?
I am, but no one thought, oh, he's going I think everyone thought I was going to lose.
You were the underdog.
I was the absolute underdog.
How many were
and I was
competing?
so gassed.
3 people?
No, there was there was about 8 of us, I reckon. 8
Oh,
or 10.
that's quite impressive.
Yeah. I felt smug.
Yeah. I bet you enjoyed the changing rooms after that. Coming back like some kind of king to his
felt
homeland.
victorious.
Did you mess around with the sink?
Nah, I never messed around with the sinks. We didn't have the sinks.
Did you not have showers?
We did have showers.
There was always stick on the shower. That was maybe what I'm remembering.
I never stepped foot in the showers.
Yeah, but didn't they just... We'd have it where someone would just put your bag in there or like chuck a few bags in there.
Yeah,
And turn it
that
on.
might have happened. I think I narrowly avoided that kind of stuff. We did used to put some people in the bin occasionally. That was a separate
Remember
thing.
that? No, that's the whole thing. And PE did feel like a special space for that because you weren't always monitored.
Yeah.
It's like the bit where they removed the policeman from the cell, like the guard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, exactly. But I just think, because they could. I guess that it would be weird if they stood there and just.
Well, yeah, sometimes they did, which was a bit weird.
But I guess that must have been actually quite hard for them, and that I suppose that's why it was so lawless because they did leave, and then it was like we've got this space to ourselves.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
crazy.
if we're viewing school as this system where it's effectively like some kind of prison or like controlled society, then the PE changing rooms is a unique position in all of that because it's the only time that the authority or the parent figures step away.
I've got to
and-
have some of my halva.
Yeah, get your halva. Yeah, they step away and we all get basically naked. What a crazy environment.
Yeah.
Like, remove the authority figure, and then, you have to get your clothes off and put some other ones on.
Did you ever get into a fight?
I was around more than I was in. Trying to think, I definitely had some tussles, but not that I instigated. I think it was more likely that I was fought, and sometimes fought back. But there were no, like, memorable ones.
Well, that's good.
No.
I didn't have any either. But I think there were slight moments where, bags would be grabbed,
Yeah,
thrown to the floor. I was thrown to the floor a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely. I remember the feeling of being winded and being kneed in the balls.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been hit in the face. But nothing serious.
Well, the boy we used to put in the bin.